This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 850 for the week of Monday, January 6th, 2025. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Steve. We have one guest with us. That's our
Just me.
It's just Steve. We have our composer, also a writer for us at OnePiecePodcast.com. The Mary Sue, Polygon, Daily Beast, potentially ANN. We have, the joke's gonna land, Kirsten Carey is with us. How's it going, Kirsten?
It's going.
Yeah, Steve, how are you getting through the new year as you stuff your face full of popcorn? Oh,
so far, so the same.
It sounds like it. That's what I needed. It's been a year. I know it's 6 days in for you folks. Yeah, so we're back. Nothing has really changed except that Tuesday the calendar changed, and Kirsten, as you put it earlier, time is a construct. I don't really know where we are or when we are, but when you're listening to this, could be in 2028. I don't know.
So what are we doing in this episode, Zach?
What? I guess we're gonna do a manga recap of chapter 1135, Friends Cups. And we also have Piece Together, of course, and see how time is going, if something else, but probably not.
I'll try and stay for the whole episode this time.
Yeah. Before we get started, please check us out at Patreon if you haven't. 7-day free trial still available. Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You help support all of us here. Equipment, website, website server stuff,
You
whatever.
get to ask Dispiece questions.
You get to ask Dispiece questions. You get to help Kirsten write more articles, including the ones that have come out every week. Kirsten,
Yay!
you want to talk a little bit about what you've been putting together on the site every week?
Yeah. I've been writing little chapter reviews and reactions, a lot of which are kind of deep dives, trying to figure out like where we last saw a character, or how things relate back to specific chapters, specific panels, which has been really fun for me, and I hope you all are enjoying it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying. Yeah, I've been enjoying putting it together.
Hee.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't listen loudly to a podcast and laugh out loud on subways, which I assume everyone does. Everyone packed onto one train. That's true.
Zach is just anti-laughing.
I never said that. How dare you, Steve? So you can check out Patreon and help support great stuff like that. And I think that's about it. We could probably get right into the show. There's no really huge news as far as I could recall.
Well,
Oda did some art.
Oda drew a New Year's image for the year of the snake.
Yes. I'm sure that portends good things. I don't really know.
I think it's on the Ichiro staff Twitter account.
Yeah, and he also drew
usually post stuff there.
He also drew the Dragon Ball Volume 42 cover, which avoided the cursed Luffy Goku twin face, or whatever we're calling that. But the smile, I mean, you've seen it, Steve, right? The Volume 42 image for the Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
Steve?
I haven't seen Oda's version.
Yeah. Volume 42 of Dragon Ball, which don't ask me what volume that is of DBZ if you're following the Viz single volume.
The end.
Here.
It's the last one.
It's the last one.
Very fitting. And I think probably the coolest little addition here is, instead of Boo flying that little flying saucer, it's actually Toribot.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
Which I didn't want to make such a sarcastic comment, and I'm like, when you want to draw Toriyama, you draw Toribot.
True. But I don't know where the sarcasm was.
I don't know. I just you see so many tribute artworks, and you know what? Pay your respects any way you can. But so many people just he's a guy with glasses, and I'm like, well,
kinda
could be, If you
To be
can't
fair,
capture his
Steve,
likeness, it could be anybody.
your likeness is bald guy who squints in his
You
image,
call me
right?
Mrs. Bald Guy?
That's your likeness.
You see the head? I'm Mrs. Bald Guy.
I definitely did not. Did I say that?
I don't know. That's just what I heard. I don't know. I think I was just going on a weird diatribe where it's like, the creator of Full Metal Alchemist has her cow avatar, Oda
Yes.
has his fish.
Yes. You go by avatar is what you're saying. So Steve,
Pretty much they were the PNG tubers of their time.
the PNG tubers. Yeah. Yeah, I've even deduced what that means. So yeah, you could. That's around on the internet. I was in Psycho Jump. It was the last of a series that was a tribute to Dragon Ball prior to Toriyama's passing. I think it started in 2022.
Yeah, these have been going for a bit now.
And I'm sure people have seen different editions of this. I went through them earlier this week because I was curious. All the awful people involved in Jump and the wonderful people involved in Jump and other publications did stuff for this. Actually, speaking of tributes, if you haven't checked out last week's episode, the last one of the year, we did and I forget, Ed, if you already intimated about it. We did One Piece Magazine 19 Laugh and Moth, which includes tributes from the author of Kaiji, Sergeant Frog, many others. Oh, the All Saints Young Men.
Saint Young Man, yes.
Saint Young Men, and many others.
So listen to that episode if you want us to explain the joke to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally. Well, because I can't read Japanese.
I
needed it.
We lived, laughed, and mouthed.
We did do all those things and loofed. Yeah. I said it was Steve targeted. I don't know if Steve has picked up the magazine.
I have. I listened to it, and yeah, it's a shame I wasn't on for that episode because
there was the one little comic about the Sanji Fujoshi.
Yeah, that was Steve's
comic about the Krieg pirates. And be fair, there are two of us. There are two of us out there that like the Krieg pirates. So actually, three. I think Brian is one of us. So
he might have just said that. You don't know.
No, Brian has taste. He talked to me and I believed him. So yeah,
cool.
That comic.
So
there was a lot of cool stuff there. Like I got the magazine, but I didn't take it with me in my travels. And I looked through it. I think, I guess once I got back. So I was like, damn, this was some good stuff. It's a shame I wasn't on for it, but
it's a really good one. The Kaiji one was very funny. That it just happened to be the voice actor who did it, who plays Brooke. Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was just like almost yelling into my AirPods. I'm like, Zark, mention that's he's voiced by Cho.
I did right away. I don't think there was like any lag. Yeah. I heard you from the future yelling at me. I usually do. Sometimes I choose to ignore it.
I use the morphological field to.
Yes, I totally get that joke. Anyway, I think with that all out of the way, please listen to us and let's continue listening to us in the next segment, which we're going to do now.
Happy New Year.
I am so good at this. This is the manga recap for chapter 1135, Friends Cups. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out from mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp or shonenjump.viz.com. See what I did? I mixed them up there. Usually doing it the other way. No one notices that. I don't know why I'm pointing it out. Ed, what's going on? I don't know. Do you want to talk about the cover of Shonen Jump? It's not super interesting.
It's just sort of the stars of Shonen Jump in space, and with Luffy in front, of course. They look like hovering somewhere above the sun during a meteor shower.
Yeah, none of the protective gear that one would actually need in space. I hope they're all okay.
This is really generic.
I've seen Planetus. They're all dead.
Oh, God. I've seen Gravity. They're all dead. Not a great movie. Anyway, my opinion. Sorry, Sandra Bullock. What about the cover page for the
Sure,
chapter?
this is the Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 21. I'm different now, and it features Tama kicking the shit out of Holden with her newfound ninja powers.
So I forgot to mention at the top, this chapter came out on Friday, which is unusual, but it with the
Which I had
holidays.
mentioned when we were recording the last podcast, because that was the Friday before.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it's unusual, but I'll say it was good because I have gotten to see all the memes of Tama kicking the shit out of random people in the series, and those I do really enjoy. And I would love to continue seeing them. Also didn't notice the English sound effect Baka, which is the one Japanese word all anime fans must know from the 90s, in the background there. Any thoughts on the Hold'em kick-ass revenge story here?
I'm
I
sure
love
he deserved
this
it.
for her.
I mean, yeah, good for her, but this one didn't really stick with me.
It's almost as good as when Hold'em punched himself in the balls.
I don't know
gonna
if
say-
anything will be as good as that.
No, you
Yeah.
won't. It might be, at least for the cultural zeitgeist, I think this is the most memorable of the cover pages for this cover story. That
Yes.
doesn't say a lot. Very low bar.
It'll be enduring, I think.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know if it'll be enduring, but it'll be the most enduring of these so far. Do you remember any other like cover page specifically from this cover story? Like,
Yes, I remember the arm all in shadow stealing a sword.
okay, so there's a standout.
There was one where Yamato was talking to Momonosuke,
Of course.
Yes,
and that's all that
yes.
was happening.
Steve, do you remember any previous one?
Yamato like hung out with Otsuru, maybe got
Oh yeah, we saw
meal
the
or
scar for the first
Yeah.
time.
something.
do
We saw
remember.
we saw a bandage in the end of Wano. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should blame the erratic pace of One Piece lately with all the breaks. Yeah, just this cover story hasn't really been sticking with me a ton. I think with like the breaks and then like the color spread too, I kind of forgot like, oh yeah, Yamato.
Yeah, look at Yamato here kicking. Wait a second. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
agree.
Yamato isn't in this one.
But but Thomas said, "It's okay. I'm different now." So
That's a reference four people get.
Alex, you better listen to this damn podcast. That's all I'm saying.
He won't. He absolutely will not. Anyway, let's start with the first page, which I gave to me, right? I should probably know that. Yeah, so we start at the beginning of the chapter, where we have Bonnie and Chopper sitting on a book, and that's exactly what is going on. Noting that the letters are huge. Is it just me, or does this like print look a lot like the poneglyph language?
Kinda, yeah.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Bonnie is back in her sort of classic kid attire.
She's been in her kid attire, I think, since LBAF started, right?
Oh, okay.
I think she's
Gap
been.
Kids.
Yeah, Gap Kids. They totally sell this outfit, Gap Kids. And Chopper, also kid-like, but I do love this outfit, almost foreboding looking with the shadow over his eyes. Yes. And noting that the letters are so huge, I can't even read them like this. Come on, guys. Have you ever had one of those play mats with the big letters? You could do it. Anyway, Biblo Baggins is sitting above them as he says, yeah, he's the one who lords over this library. I just came up with that. That was not in the...
That's solid.
Oh,
Noggin.
I have been misreading it Bilbo frequently.
Okay.
I was so ready to. I was waiting for the Oda box to sing Bill Blow, Bill Blow.
Is that a Leonard Nimoy?
Owl. Yeah, that's a Leonard
Yeah.
Nimoy original right there.
I love it. This
Ballad
is
of Bilbo
great.
Baggins.
This is great. We got it. We're done. We don't need to do any more of the chapter.
Biblo the owl. Yeah.
Anyway,
I think that
Biblo is up there. There. Well, that's more of like a pigeon, right?
Yeah.
We could all do this together later.
Hey, Zach, can I take out this book? Can you just biblo me later?
That sounds really gross. By the way, bibliography, I guess, is probably where this is coming from.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's a word.
Donde está la biblioteca?
Oh, more likely, donde está la biblioteca? Well, we're here. I know where it's here. Finally, a use for that saying. We're 2 panels in. Anyway, Saul saying, yes, Biblo, the owl, who we can't stop talking about, has been here for centuries, I hear. All we know is that owl up there will make any book that enters its territory grow to an enormous size. And we get a close-up of a very, let's say, tired Biblo the owl, the chief librarian.
A lot of wrinkles and bags under those eyes. But then again,
Yes.
I don't know. If you ever look that close at like a parrot or something, yeah, that's
No,
how they
I
look.
haven't. I should though.
If they were
But he's an
defeathered.
owl.
Yeah.
Saul
But
continues
he's an owl.
saying, yes. Saul continues saying, because Elbath ain't affiliated with the world government, we don't get news coups here, but you can read little newspapers the fishermen get while at sea. I assume he means actual fishermen. Isn't that what they called? Didn't they call the fishermen something like that in 4 Kids? Or am I just imagining that fisherman was?
Yeah, but I think there are giants who go out in boats and catch
or was
fish.
that maybe it was a Hong Kong bootleg sub I'm thinking of. Anyway,
No, I think they just called them fishermen.
okay, I'm losing my mind. It's actually lost. I don't know what I'm talking about. Lilith cuts in saying, I suspect it's a growth owl that's eaten the grow fruit, causing inorganic matter to grow. So taking your questions off the table now.
So that's why the pirates
Important to
didn't
note
grow.
for later.
Yeah.
And the perfect power for the land of giants. How perfect that this owl happened to eat this fruit and end up here in this place. That's a library. Well done, owl. And Saul asks if it takes her back and says it does. I feel feel slightly smaller than I did when I was a child, but Chopper asking if they had medical books, but Robin noting since she has read all of these books, presumably as a kid, the O'Hara ones at least, saying that they mostly have to do with archaeology and history. And everyone's just like, "Oh, I can't wait to read them." But they were always big. So the medical books are from Elbath. There you go. But they can't shrink them down. Meanwhile, in the background, Biblo looking ominously from above. Steve.
And then on the next page, yahoo, yippee! They're swinging on a giant swing, and by them I mean Luffy, Usopp, and 2 of the giant children. Luffy's having the time of his life. These kids are scared shitless. And I think Luffy's being asked to, push harder, like a child, like a normal child would.
Who's the child here?
Yeah. I guess the Elbaf children don't even like swings anymore. And Luffy says, "Whoa, this is great. I love this giant swing." Has a big laugh. Then we cut and we see Luffy and Usopp swollen with a bunch of bumps, and Luffy saying, "I'm so Bobby."
I'm so Bobby.
No, his name is Luffy. It's Monkey D. Luffy, not Monkey D. Bobby. And
Bobby's World?
Nami. Yeah, that's enough. And it was Nami, of course, and she's chewing them out, saying, "Those children were terrified." And Usopp is just saying, "I tried to stop them." So Usopp getting caught in the crossfire there. He doesn't nearly have as much bumps as Luffy.
To be fair, Usopp didn't really do anything, right? He was just there.
Yeah.
He's holding on to that kid's horn, as one does.
But I guess him doing nothing made him just as responsible. He was an accessory, right? Right, Zach? Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, the kids run and cry to Gerd, and they're scared, and she comforts them as they embrace her, hugging,
Glomping.
and yes, where they're the glomping where their eyes make contact, where it's like with Gerd, and the boobs. Anyway, Luffy's saying like, "Hey, a warrior shouldn't be crying. It's pathetic." And Sanji berates him here and says, "Stop it, Luffy. The children here are raised to be kind and well-meaning and pure." And Sanji notices somebody says, "Huh?" And then we see a look we haven't seen in a long time, reminiscent of Momonosuke post-Punk Hazard. The lecherous grin here on one of the children here looking back on Sanji as his face is pressed against Gerd's breast. And Sanji says, "Oh, you you smug little brat." Is that just a universal trait? And might be. Some things don't change. And we cut to a wide here, wide shot, and Luffy says, "I'm really sad about this, Usopp." And Usopp says, "I know how you feel, but we can't complain about Elbaf trying to live in peace." And then we see what looks to be a sword come swinging down the ground, and a yell. Someone's yelling, "I found you, Straw Hat Luffy!" And it's knocking Luffy and Usopp out of the way. And Luffy was like, "Hey, what happened to being peaceful?" And we see this child, who I believe is the child from the bar that the red-haired pirates were at. Colin?
Colin. Well, rectum.
He's got them now as we go to the next page.
Yeah. And his sword is broken. And I guess that Luffy broke it with his head, or what happened there?
No, you could see those scratchy marks to the right of Luffy. That's Luffy's hand.
Yeah,
probably just battering away. And it's a sword made of wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Luffy immediately goes Gear 3, and he retaliates with the elephant gun. And Usopp's like, "Hey, take it easy, Luffy." And we hear, "Eek!" What? I didn't hit him. Even still. It looks to me like he didn't hit him. Am I missing something here? Anyway. And Luffy giggles. At least someone here has got some backbone. And so, not so little Colin continues, "That was awesome. I could totally tell you're an emperor of the sea." Yeah. And the other children of Elbaf say, "We hate you too, Colin." And we hear, "The wild child is here. You don't even go to school." It's like, dude, you don't even go here.
Is Colin like the kind of kid that like you hear about that like has a switchblade and you're not supposed to hang out with him? Your mom told him to hang out.
I guess.
He's the latchkey kid.
He continues, "Shut up, losers. I hate you sniffling weaklings too." And then the other children are like, "Eek, he's so vicious."
Hey, Zach, I was a latchkey kid too, and I turned out mostly okay.
Yeah. No, you did. In fact, Steve is the most law-abiding and rule-abiding person.
Don't you start.
No, what someone has been calling you. Anyway. Kirsten.
Yes. Ripley bends down, giving Colin a thumbs up, saying, "There you go, causing trouble again, Colin. That was a really good swing, though." And Colin says, "Heh. Oh, here. It's your favorite, Mom, from Matzo." And Sanji, I think that's Sanji, says, "What? Mom? You mean Ripley? You're not teaching him the same lessons your school is. He should probably apologize."
So, I don't know what he's got in the basket there, but he's giving it to his mother.
It's her favorite, whatever it is.
Yes.
It says lingonberries. I mean, it's coming up.
It does.
Sorry, I don't mean to Go ahead. Sorry, Kirsten. I had to make the joke quick or else. Sorry.
Sanji opines, we should probably apologize about that sneak attack, though. And then remember the whole thing about the owl only being able to grow in organic manner? Because Cullen now says, my dad's a human, you know. To which everyone rightfully replies, huh? He used to be a pirate. He can even hold his own against Elbaf warriors. And then Ripley's in the background saying, oh, lingonberries, how sweet. Then Sanji, full of envy, your father's a human? And Ripley is saying, he's a younger man, actually, Hart. He keeps sulking that he's the only one who ages, and that's why he won't marry me. So I've always been his common law wife. And Sanji probably saying, who does this guy think he is anyway?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe it's Tormund from Game of Thrones. He was always looking for the big woman.
You see, I like that these are good theories. Could happen.
Like
I have an actual...
I'm saying Sanji's probably thinking here is like, so you're saying there's a chance?
Nope.
It's possible.
Not with you. I guess it's biologically possible. What were you going to say? What's your theory, Kirsten?
Oh, I mean, my theory is that it's probably the guy from Roger's crew that everyone thinks that the
Scupper Gabon.
Yeah. That's my theory. But
that's
obviously,
where I am too. But
obviously, the more interesting point is exactly how the physics of the act works.
Is that the more interesting point?
I think so. Anyway,
continue.
We cut back to Luffy saying, "Gwa! Even the library is cool." And someone else saying, the books are all huge. Robin greets them saying, Luffy, I want to catch up with Saul, so I'll stop by the feast later. Saul says, Shishi. It'll be fine. Their feasts all last 3 days and nights. And Chopper says, I'll stay here too. Luffy says, okay, got it. Then we cut to Lilith saying, don't worry about me. I've got to go ask permission to put down roots here. Me too, says Bonnie. Then we've got Frankie looking all happy and starry saying, ow, listen up. Turns out this whole island is an atom tree. It's the ultimate tree whose wood I used to build the Sunny. Then we just get a small version of the tree. It says jewel tree atom.
Just in case you forgot about the tree, this is what a tree looks like.
It's also a speech bubble, which is interesting. Anyway.
It's like, he's speaking the image.
Yeah. You can see the tree if you hear his enthusiasm.
He is a robot, so.
Technology these days. Sol says, yeah, there are several atom trees in the world, but this one's by far the oldest. And Frankie says, I'm going to soak in the majesty of the jewel tree. Luffy says,
the oldest and therefore the best.
Yes.
Exactly. Luffy says, all right, you guys, fine. We'll go back first. I'm about ready to starve by now. And Gerd says, I have a request for everyone. What is it, Gerd?
Before we go to the next page, Ed,
yeah.
I have to say, I love the line. It's very subtle from Luffy saying, even the library is cool. What a thing to say. I found that very funny. It's like,
you know what they say, give a hoot, read a book.
Give a hoot, read a book.
No, that's how it goes. Okay. It is Viking.
So says Biblo.
So says Biblo. Ed.
Yes. So you go to the next page and everyone's in Elbaf garb, and we see Brooke saying, yo, why thank you. Do I look like a warrior? And I guess that's Frankie saying, you're killing it, Brooke. How about me? I definitely feel stronger. And Frankie's got a big beard and he's got horns on his head now too.
Yeah, how did the beard work? Did he press the button on himself to just
He
like, oh, I
doesn't
better add a
usually have
beard?
hair down there, so
Or is it like a costume choice? Like which yeah, I'm wondering.
all right. So Gerd continues. Um, I have a hobby of making human clothes. That's all, though. Honestly, nothing else. I don't have any other weird hobbies. Stop asking. Yeah,
But she also says like to herself, she's, oh my
yeah.
gosh, they're so cute.
Yes, they are. Yeah. I'm so happy you like them. And Jinbei says, these are surprisingly comfortable and easy to move around in.
This is Jinbei's number one qualification, as we
Yeah.
all know. He only wears comfortable clothing.
He's got like a
in every
big,
arc.
he's got like a big belt buckle with like a snake on it, a swirly snake.
I like all the belt buckles. Those are fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that Brooks just has a skull on it.
And so does Frankie's.
So is Frankie.
yeah.
I think that symbol has been on a bunch of stuff, or like just that skull, which looks actually
Yeah.
more like our logo. Funny enough, with
Yeah.
the teeth like that. Yeah.
But I love Gerd here, which is like with the hands covering the face, just like excited about her hobby being appreciated.
Finally, people appreciate my dolls. I mean, regular clothes that I use for
Yeah. Human sized.
Yeah. There are two more panels there on the left, which are melded somewhat into the rest of the page.
And Luffy says, okay, see you guys in the village. We'll catch up later. What is that little ship thing there? What is that?
Oh, that's the one the Svar, I think is what it was called.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a fake word, so I'm not going to beat myself up for not knowing that. Steve, what do you think of all the outfits before we go on?
They're fine. Nothing about it really kind of jumped out at me. I think
they're not overly complicated.
says you.
Well, Brooke appears to be wearing like a feathery black jacket.
Mm-hmm. I do notice that Frankie isn't actually wearing pants, so that's very
Good.
in his style. I'm just very curious about his beard, though.
Frankie's like, no pants. How did you know?
Probably.
I'm sure these
Yeah.
will look a lot more fun when we see them in color.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering what all of Elbaf is going to kind of. I mean, we had a rainbow at the beginning, so we know what that looks like. Yeah, it's dying for that.
I like Robin's skirt, the kind of like mini skirt turning into the kind of tiered longer skirt. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
fun. A fun cosplay possibility.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I enjoy these. I know this is a very contentious topic. I enjoy these infinitely more than the Egghead outfits.
Agreed.
And that's coming from a sci-fi fan personally, so I was just very let down with those. No, these are all great. Brooks I think is standout, and Robbins, you're right, is much more unique than what Oda has been kind of. But how will Saul recognize her now? Because she's not wearing the clothes she was wearing.
Well,
when she
her
was-
hair is right. That's how.
That's true, and he's in the room, so maybe that'll help. Anyway,
short-term memory loss.
but why did she dress like that? Anyway,
He did take a lot of cannonballs to the face.
he did, and he got.
I don't know.
frozen.
I don't know. She was feeling very member berries,
Okay.
She wanted Saul to say, "I remember."
We head to Aurist Castle in the western village of Elbaf, which I believe was close by where the party's going on. And you have two giants talking to as we find out, the mystery members, one of whom is Shanks's evil twin. Pipsqueak humans, how did we let you get in? We failed. Don't say this part out loud when you fail, by the way. That's how people realize that you fail. Don't just say. Anyway, they ask if they're part of the Straw Hat crew, and unrightfully assume so. And this
You must be because you're here.
The mystery person with the nice eyelashes and the hat that's kind of all JoJo-esque to the side says, we're looking for a person named Loki. And they said, yeah.
It's more of a hooded cloak.
No, I
there's
was going to
both.
point this out. I realized that because it's in 2 panels. Yeah, it looks like the delinquent hat, the Jotaro hat.
Oh, yeah.
I just know.
Yankee hat.
Yeah, it's my first time looking at it at a bigger screen. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's not part of the cloak. Very interesting.
I think we mentioned that it looked like it could be like a witch's hat or something, but now we see, what we just mentioned under the cloak. Sorry, I believe this is that person, which I will call mystery person A, says, then where is he? Answer me. And the giant, the heavy one, there's always a heavy one and a skinny one, saying, can't tell you that, just in case you mean to free him. And the other guy is like, hey, he killed King Harold, beloved by all the people of the realm. Would you like me to tell you a story about that? He's the scourge of Elbaf, and no one's in this castle anyway. So mystery person A with the delinquent hat says, so you will not say? And nope. And this looks like firecrackers or something going off. Yeah. Like that. Unclear if they're like projectiles, but I assume so, given what
Looks like
happens
somebody's
next.
getting punched because the guy has got a big shocked face in the next panel there.
No, I think they're just more shocked about whatever the hell is going on.
Looks like he's in pain.
Well, he's about to be if he's not here, as they both say, huh? God, that guy's bushy mustache, the one on the bottom, excellent. Anyway, and they're like, wait, what kind of joke is this? And then you hear a crack noise, and down goes the more portly looking giant, as the other guy's like, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? And things are cracking and crucking. It's unclear what, but he thudded to the ground. And the delinquent mystery person says, behave yourself, you insolent lout. Did you think I asked you a question? I gave you an order to answer me. And they're just like, what is going on with these two little tiny ants, doing whatever. I definitely got Celestial Dragon-ish vibes from the way that she spoke, I think, or something like that. But we'll see.
Get it.
Yeah. Kirsten.
Meanwhile, alarmingly nearby in Western Village, Elbaf, from the distant East Blue, we have come at last to this place. Hey, that's the Straw Hat crew. And Luffy says, the lands of giants at last! The kingdom of the world's strongest warriors, says Usopp as they cheers and dance together.
They form a kick line.
The Elbaf kick line.
Anyway, go ahead.
Dory Brogy saying, we're glad you're here. We've been waiting for you. These pipsqueak humans are the ones who protected our warriors' pride. And then the two from
Oimo and Kashi.
What? Thank you.
Enies Lobby.
At Enies Lobby. Say, the ones who freed us from a prison of our own ignorance. Deep shit. And then Haruden says, who saved my life when I was in danger of vanishing into nothing because of the whole toy thing.
Let's remind everyone of where these people came from.
Well,
when I lost my house in the hurricane, Monkey D. Luffy showed up with boards and a hammer and helped rebuild my home.
You should do one of those ads.
When we were hit with that blizzard and I couldn't get out of my driveway, Monkey D. Luffy showed up with a bunch of shovels. I feel like it's like
Monkey D.
going
Luffy
around.
will be there.
It's going
the
around.
State Farm. It's an insurance.
It's turning into like It's a Wonderful Life where it's just like showing up and be like, if it wasn't for you, Monkey D. Luffy.
When you're in
Sounds
trouble,
like a lot of
Luffy is there.
the tributes to Jimmy Carter I've heard this week.
Yeah, I'm sure he built a lot of houses for most of those people.
Yeah.
Damn. It's a shame he passed away. Now I can never say, come on, Carter, build us a house.
He has kids and grandkids.
Yeah,
Probably
they
great
can build
grandkids.
houses.
Yeah, they could build houses. I think they actually may. Then, like the charitable
Yeah, so
organization.
only Jimmy Carter building those houses. Where are we? I'm so sorry.
The bottom of page 14.
Where are we indeed?
No, I don't think he meant literally Kirsten.
No, I mean I also meant just in general. Anyway. Elbaf welcomes these little friends to our land. Woo! They might be small, but don't overlook them. And Luffy says, hee hee hee. On the
They
sea,
might be
straw
giants.
I'll never get tired of that. On the sea, Straw Hat Luffy is a great pirate, one of the 4 emperors. Woo! He was front and center in the Great Wano incident, where that monster Kaido and Big Mom fell in battle. Rah! And everyone looks very proud of the Straw Hat crew who's there, except for Zoro, who's facing away and drinking by himself, and Nami, who finds the giant screams to be
He's just a
far
little bit
too
lost.
loud. And we're lost.
I know he might have drank too much. That's also possible. He's having issues.
He does that.
Yeah, Nami's making the same expression that my son makes when anyone but him is yelling. Yeah.
And the giants cheer, to the Straw Hats, we raise these friends' cups. Rah! Cheers! Crash!
Looks like a good
And-
time.
Yes, Steve.
It does.
It does.
Yep.
I'm glad we got the party. We'll talk more about it after that. Go ahead.
And then we see another approaching Spar. And though we see him from behind, this is a familiar looking man. I assume the laugh is Boja ja ja ja, but to me, I read it as Boha, and that's a Boha blast. But
It could
I'm pretty
It
sure.
could be it could be Bo Ya Ya Ya. Like
because
it could be
because it's like, is it Yarl, right? Or is it?
it is Yarl. It is
Yarl,
yeah.
so it's probably
This is-
Boha. Oh, cool.
Bo Ya
Well, I don't
Ya
think we
Ya.
could. I don't think we can name another episode after Baja Blast.
One is enough.
Yeah,
And
This is
his
too many.
name was actually Baja, right? Wasn't it?
Maha.
His name is Maha
Oh, it was Maha
Mhm.
Blast. Oh crap. Okay.
from
never mind.
CP0.
Yeah.
And he just laughs and says, "I could hear them from here." And someone says, "Looks like the Straw Hats are back." And I think this is Luffy while eating says, "Like, what? You're the giant that they had captured back in Shibondi?" And this is Stanson here. Stanson.
Yes.
Yep, he says his own name right here. I should just read. It says, "It's the very same Stanson at your service. When I heard from Harden that he was under your lead, it felt like fate was at work." And then we flashback says, "I will repay this debt to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then
Just to say, this is probably one of my favorite. This is another sign that Oda was a huge fan of wrestling in like the early 80s in Japan. Because Stan
Mhm.
Hansen was one of the most popular American wrestlers in Japan from like 1975 to the mid 80s.
Thanks for
Yeah,
refreshing
great.
everybody. Yeah.
He had great matches in Japan with Andre the Giant, actually. Very entertaining, unlike most of Andre's matches.
And he hit Big Van Vader so hard that Vader's eye popped out of its socket.
Oh, yeah.
And they still kept wrestling.
Is that what happened
Anyway.
to Anakin Skywalker? My jokes are bad today. Please go ahead.
A Stanson refresher. Abducted while napping, the old friend of Harridan's was nearly sold off at the human auction hall. Luckily for him, the Straw Hat crew wrecked the auction for an unrelated reason, and thus he escaped slavery. Here's
I
Stanson
feel
here
like
just sitting
Kimi should
with
be offended by
Rayleigh.
this. Kimi is an unrelated reason.
It's too much exposition. We don't need that much. You just need to know Stanson was here. Luffy punched Charlos.
I don't even think I feel like the
All
one
is
I'll
well.
repay this debt to you thing would have almost been enough. Maybe one more panel, but I don't know. Anyway, go
I
ahead.
remember who Stanson is. Anyway,
Yeah, we do.
and Luffy says, okay, I see. Hey, I'm glad you made it out. And I think this is Harden here. Says, everyone having fun?
No, I think that's
No, this is Yarrow. Yeah.
yeah.
Is everyone having a good time? Can I get you anything?
Can I get you
Yeah.
some fruit punch?
I realize I got to read more when everyone's saying Chief Yarl. It's Chief Yarl. And Luffy's like, oh, who's that? And we have Brogy
That, by the
here.
way, sorry, that is an excellent little Luffy there. I love that little Luffy with the hat.
Food in his mouth to the side.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And we have Brogy here to help introduce, but we have this nice big panel of Beard Hill Yarl, hero of the giants, oldest in the world, age 408. And he laughs. Oh, I hear we've got some little guests.
Some whittle guests.
Some whittle guests. Oh, where's your mommy? And Luffy says, look at this giant. He's like a walking hill. And Luffy just goes interrobang. Oh. And Luffy says, hey, old man, there's a sword stuck in your head. And Yoro replies, whoa, oh, this? Not to worry. The helmet saved my life. And Luffy yells, don't go all the way through. And yes, the sword somehow penetrated the helmet, going right through his skull. And yet Yoro is still here to tell us the tale. And that is strangely where the chapter ends today.
No,
so it was the other one the other one was killed by Big Mom. Yorl.
Right.
This is Yarl.
Yarl.
God, that is way they're way too close in name.
It was Yarl Beardfall.
Was Beardfall and Beard Hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're also, that name is also too close. Like if you're trying to remember.
As we call them, Jorol and Jawrol. So.
But also, that's why they killed one of them, because it would be way too confusing for the
You guys are too similar.
I got to disagree with you, Steve. I think this is one of the best cliffhangers. I love that we ended on a stupid joke. I mean, like, gag? Not a... Yeah, with a gag. Like,
I guess it's like... I guess maybe Oda, they didn't want to end on the cloaked figures 2 times in a row, but that kind of felt more like a... You know, like a cliffhanger, especially for a 2-week break.
I mean, for Oda, I think it was only, to be fair, since it was a double issue, he probably was still working week to week, and that's probably why he wasn't. I don't know. You might be right. It's not a traditional Shonen Jump end of chapter, but I liked it because it's Luffy's cliffhanger. He's like, what the hell just happened?
Like I couldn't see the anime ending on this gag.
No,
I could see. But, you know, with the direction of the Fishman Island special edition, I could totally see an episode from that ending on this gag.
Thoughts on the chapter? We're off, by the way, next week, but we have an SGS, so please stay tuned to the One Piece podcast. But we have to talk about the chapter. Kirsten, what did you think?
Yes. It's sort of a weird chapter. It sort of feels like a lot of things were like introduced or like part way mentioned but not like explored deeply. Yeah, it's the kind of chapter where I was like entertained reading it, but like nothing quite stuck with me at the end, except for wondering how it's possible to have a relationship, a child producing relationship with a giant. If you're a human.
I'm really thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
It could be IVF for the giant equivalent of that. I'm not going to think about this too much.
Giant turkey baster?
Oh.
Why?
I don't want to have this conversation.
No, I don't. That was the end.
Yeah, no, it's not one you want to have out loud. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued by the cloaked figures. A little disappointed that we only got 2 pages of them this chapter and nothing from the Shanks wannabe. But I am intrigued at JoJo hat. Probably Lady from the eyelashes, but maybe not. Yeah. It was it's a fine chapter. I agree with Steve that it ends in a weird place. Especially for the 2-week break. Yeah, just not really kind of could pick up from anywhere next week, or next chapter, which fine, cool. Yeah. Forgot about Stanson. Good to see him again. It was fun.
Ed, thoughts?
I like this chapter a lot. It was felt very like whimsical with like Luffy getting into a fist fight with a child, the prospect of human giant hybrid children, and and Stanson returning is I guess I should have seen that coming, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it.
He was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just wasn't named. We talked about that, I think.
And Bilbo the Owl, like him.
Biblo.
Yeah. Biblo, yeah.
Biblo Owl.
Oh, stop it. Oh, stop.
Biblo.
And the idea that one of these cloaked people is able to like topple a giant like that and make him fall over in pain, that's intriguing, and it makes them more interesting. And the fact that they seem to be trying to get to Loki, which is dangerous for everybody. So that's intriguing, but I don't have much else to say except I found it sort of a whimsical chapter. I like Gerd's enthusiasm about human clothes, making her doll clothes for the Straw Hats, which is I love her enthusiasm about it, and they look so good in them too. But yeah, that's all I've got to say, really. Steve, you're up.
I can't believe I didn't realize that give a hoot, read a book is a Simpsons quote. Damn, when I'm not even trying. It's ingrained in me.
You don't yeah, okay.
It's just, it's just a second language. It's like how some people, when they slip into like, say English and Spanish, it's just me and just Simpsons quotes. I think when I was reading this chapter the other day, I think I was getting a little frustrated, and I think I had to slow myself down a little bit and kind of just enjoy things in the moment, or just like not forcing myself to enjoy. I should say just pace myself and read this and observe everything going on. And then once I started doing that, I liked the chapter a lot more. But I do think it kind of just ended on oh, okay. I mean, was it supposed to be like a big deal that Yarl is here? I assumed he was still alive. I think we might have even heard so.
We did, yeah.
Oh, speaking of The Simpsons, I was thinking like maybe Colin is like that kid in the toy store with the Bone Storm.
Oh, like shut up, Mom.
He's not quite. He's not
quite that bad.
No.
But he's hated even by his classmates. He doesn't even go to school.
Speaking of Colin, I was surprised because when we first saw him was at that bar with Shanks, and I thought the bartender felt like she had like a similar kind of design aesthetic to Colin here. So I just assumed that was his mother. So I was really thrown off by this reveal here. That Ripley is Big Mom here. No relation. But I enjoyed the library stuff. A lot of cute panels and a lot of great looking panels. I think the stuff I've been complaining about previously, in terms of like shot composition and like scale, I think this chapter is a huge improvement here. I think panels like
I thought this was an easier chapter to follow, even on mobile the way I was reading it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think like panels like Chopper and Bonnie and like Robin sitting on these big books. The shot of Ripley like looking down at Colin here. That's more what I want. Give me more of that. Even like the reveal of the outfits. You have Gerd in the background, and she's obviously big. She's looking a lot like Shirahoshi. Here, I almost thought it was
I'm
her.
glad you
with
mentioned
her hands
that.
covering her face like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think even like with the freaking organization 13 members here, Uh, like those panels with those guys, that big panel where the guy's in pain. It's so much better use of scale here. This is what I want. Uh, and so I think art wise, this chapter has been a big improvement. But I mean, other than that, I think, because the info we got about Biblo is big. I guess we needed the stuff with the swings to set up uh Cullen's connection here
Just Luffy
with Ripley.
going wild in the swing and Nami being like, "You're scaring them."
Mhm. But
good little character interactions there.
and like this is a big development with the cloaked figures and like the giant here, but still felt like it was just I assumed I'm like, yeah, these guys probably have strange powers here. So I felt like there was a little development on that side here. But I enjoy seeing this huge spread with the celebration. The Yarrow gag is funny. I'm glad I'm you know and I don't know why I'm going to compare him to Araki at the moment, but I'll bring up like what I like about Oda is Oda will like if like characters have like some sort of connecting thread, like Oda will take the time to kind of point it out or have these characters kind of respond to it, like Stance and Luffy here. I'm kind of glad that Oda dedicated the time to Stance to be like, hey, that was me 2 years ago. Thanks, by the way. As opposed, I don't know, like I said, Araki before. I just think of like I was thinking of like JoJo Part 5, where it's like, wow, you have a lot of returning characters here. It would be it would be interesting for them to react to other characters in a certain way, and just you don't get that payoff at all. So sorry, JoJo's fans. But other than that, I just like I just feel like the pacing. Well, I think it's good. I'm glad he's not rushing because I felt like we were, I think like a lot of the manga last year, I think to get through Egghead, there was a lot of rush stuff here. And I'm glad Oda's taking his time. I think I'm just getting a little antsy, and I think it's just because of the breaks, and it's not always because of Oda. I'm sure he's fine. I know like a lot of people think I'm getting a little way too worried after the Cape Town visit, but sometimes people get sick, especially people that just sit down and draw manga all day. But yeah, like the constant breaks have been kind of like wearing me down a bit, and I think I'm kind of just like, all right, come on, let's go. Let's let some cool stuff happen. But unfortunately, now I gotta wait 2 weeks. But I'm not hating this. I'm just saying I think the pacing is kind of just having its effect on me.
Anything else, Steve?
And that's it.
I think Oda's fine as long as he doesn't come down with a case of Togashiism.
I don't think there's any danger of that. Probably. Knock on wood. I was gonna say, yeah, the pacing, which we've talked about a little. I mean, we had 2 4-week breaks last in 2024. Which, yeah, I think even like getting into the podcast this week, it's like, it's not as natural as it would be week to week doing this show, even because the manga hasn't been so consistent recently. So I need to like kickstart my One Piece engine sometimes with chapters. And I could also understand this chapter being frustrating in that regard. I'll say I do my best to digest these chapters as if someone were reading this kind of marathoning through or reading a full volume. And this chapter, I think, is a really nice payoff for someone who just got through Egghead and is just like, this, the chapters I really love, particularly in retrospect.
What's that thing that Stan Lee used to say? Every chapter is somebody's first chapter.
Yeah, I don't know if
presumably you would have read all the way through up to this point. Maybe this is their first week of like waiting for the chapter and reading week to week.
I think it's more that what was I going to say? I think it was more that this kind of chapter is cathartic after reading through, a lot of chaos.
And Bonnie, is Bonnie gonna stay in Elbaf? Is she gonna live here?
Well, We don't know that.
Or maybe
I guess
she's
we'll
gonna
find out.
stay with Lilith, Vegapunk.
Yeah, I
Maybe
was
get a
wondering that
timeshare?
too.
Well, there's also just a lot of ominousness in the background. So I want to talk about the mystery people because the one thing we didn't bring up is the Loki. We did talk about Loki and that connection, but I wonder how this is going to play into two things. First, whatever Luffy talked about with Loki and whatever little deal they have going on there and why, and we don't really know any of that. And two, if any of these two people may be the person that he was talking to on the phone, on the
Shaggy.
transponder snail, Shaggy. We don't know that either. And I might be putting two and two together, but also like narratively, that kind of feels like it makes sense because we had that conversation 2 weeks later when the next chapter came out. We got them. I believe that was the progression of, or maybe it was right one after the other. I don't remember. Anyway, they might be completely unrelated. Who the hell knows? I just really enjoyed seeing the Straw Hats having a good time through this entire chapter. Robin kind of living in her fantasy world. Chopper too. Luffy saying libraries could be cool, I guess. And seeing the new outfits is fun. The stuff with Colin is interesting, and we're not going to talk about that out loud. It makes perfect sense. I was thinking, didn't we? Or what was it that freak? Now I'm forgetting what I want to talk about with that. But like, I feel like the half human, half giant thing is not super, unusual or weird. I don't know how you determine who gets what genes. Does Colin live until he's in his 400s, or does he live until he's, 80 or whatever it is, the human
Well,
lifespan?
apparently, giants don't age once they've reached adulthood. It seems.
Right, but they take a lot longer. So this kid,
Yeah.
I believe. Well, maybe no. I think they might just be they have regular childhoods, and then at pubescence they just slow the hell down, like Saiyans. I think. But yeah, the hybrid thing is interesting. I don't less how that happened in the first place and more how that affects Colin as a character going forward. Will be interesting, especially since we've discussed before he's very Vicky the Viking, modeled after Vicky from Vicky the Viking.
With that helmet in particular.
Yeah, and if a lot of it, but yeah, the helmet definitely helps. I still don't get why some humans or giants have horns like growing out of their head and others don't. That was a big thing in Wano, particularly with the Animal Kingdom pirates and Kaido, for example. I'm wondering if that's something that will be explained. And I think probably one of my last points is that Steve mentioned the art. I think what really helped is the grass in the foreground, with a lot of it for me as a non-artist. Yeah, it's interesting. It was good. I don't know if the Shirahoshi, I like, oh my God, that's just Shirahoshi in the background though for the 2-page spread of the two of them.
Yeah.
And it's I think that page has a somewhat weird layout. Like the fact that both the Straw Hats and the Svar are both sticking out of their respective panels is interesting. It's an interesting choice, I think. But yeah, there's not a ton to pick apart here, I don't think. So I think that's all I got, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but
Well, that's all I got too. I don't have anything else.
okay. Steve, Kirsten, anything else you wanted to hit on before?
Nah, not a ton to really sink my teeth into this week.
Long live Biblo.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh no.
How old is that
Biblo
owl?
on his 111st birthday.
Yeah, we don't even know. He's been around
Who's
for
older,
centuries.
Biblo or Yarul?
Well, they say that's one
He's
thing I did want to
408.
mention. Yeah, and he's the oldest giant, presumably in the world. He's a hero, but I don't believe he holds any quote unquote political authority within Elbaf, from.
He's the chief, isn't he?
They had said he was a chief, but is that of the village, the Western Village, or whatever they called it? Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else I want to say though. Yeah,
Maybe he's like
Ed.
the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've got
Mayor.
it. I'm good.
Okay. Let's move on to the next segment.
All right.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then bring Leonard Nimoy. No, that doesn't make any sense.
We make them into a gigantic size so we can read them.
Okay, sure.
We get
for
Mr.
Steve.
Owl from the Tootsie Pop commercial to do it.
Just throw everything at the wall. That's all right. Let's start with the Grink who stole Christmas. Who says, "Ahoy!"
Oh, Zach, this is a diss piece, of course.
Ed, of course. How could I forget that?
A 1, a 2, a 3. Go ahead.
And you know what? I skipped a bunch, so even better.
I'm not much of a reader. Ask Mr. Owl.
First one comes from How, which I assume is Kirsten's question. Ahoy, OPP. Something occurred to me yesterday. With Loki being chained to that tree for the past 6 years, how did he use the toilet? I saw this question and genuinely stumped, and not literally there. That was not a pun. Don't know. I don't know. Maybe he has that flap on the bottom, like the...
These are the kinds of logistical questions I live for.
And yeah,
I don't know.
This is why you should never drink water out of the river, because fish poop in there.
Does that have anything to do with Loki?
But it's always moving.
Well, they just poop whenever they have to.
But also poop.
I mean, so do I. I just do it in the restroom.
I have too many poop conversations to do this on air. Next one comes from King. I have kids. That's why. Next one comes from King Toji, who says, "Hello, OPP."
Oh, I thought that was just their username. King, I have kids. That's why. I'm like, say no more.
King Doji says it. Hey, OPP. Question is for Steven, so feel free to ignore it if he's not on. Oh, anyway, let's move on then. Stents TB says, bring that back up. The SGS is next week, so just make sure you copy paste that question into the SGS chat. By the way, remember, this piece is available for Patreon subscribers only, so if you want to be the people who get their questions read first, please subscribe to us. Stents TB says, good morning, OPP crew. Usually I don't get the chance to write in for this piece, but through the powers of time theft, I can read One Piece and get paid for it. On to my thoughts. What? Oh, he's reading at work. We won't call you out, but whoever Stents TB's boss is, might be reading One Piece. I'm choosing to believe that it continues. I'm choosing to believe that in some Discord server of the world's brats, where they've all agreed to do the smug face at Sanji after shoving their face into boobs, not because they're perverts, but because they want to mess with Sanji. That makes it okay, right? No. Next one. I'm 50-50 on whether Gerds. That's all though, really, is supposed to come off as nervous or not. Do you think there is more to the hobby than she is letting on, or does she not want to be associated with Roto? Probably yes to both. I mean, I assume this is something she had been doing before, and that is why she has some embarrassment. Also, she's like a pirate, a hardy pirate of the new.
She doesn't have like a human-sized terrarium for the Straw Hats now.
Yeah, maybe she's just not
like
very.
A Barbie's dream house.
Look, everyone has embarrassing hobbies. She, Gerd collects makes little clothes for figurines, and we do a podcast about One Piece. Next,
like that guy on The Wire who makes dollhouse furniture,
or the one on The Wire who has the fish tank thing. Anyway, finally, what if all the cool giant swords we see lying around the world are actually hats to make people look more like the fashion icon Yarol? This is the old version of the hero's hat, clearly. Wishing you all a great new year. Thank you, Stens. Yes. Next question.
Probably not.
No, probably, I think is what you meant to say. Right. The Gringusto Cramstus Miss says, Ahoy, OPP. Banger chapter as always, and Happy New Year. Loving everyone's new fits and really love Yarul's head ornament. Makes him look 100 years younger. Only a little 308-year-old.
Man, you got a lot of shit on your head.
Is that a Mitch Hedberg?
It is, yes.
Who's got
cranium accessories?
I'll look up that joke later. Who's got your personal favorite Elbaf outfit? Have a good week and year.
I think I gotta give it to Brooke.
Yeah, I gotta look at all of them again, including the ones that
I really like Brooks.
I think mine is Jinbei's with his cool belt buckle. And apparently his is very comfortable, so I'm all about comfortable clothes.
That's all he cares about. Yeah, I feel like he had the Lazy River Jinbei, and
it's no yukata, but it'll do.
Brooks is really nice. Robbins is really nice. Like since what you specifically pointed out.
Robbins looks warm with that thing she's wearing on her back there.
But yet exposes half her body. It's an interesting combo. But that's actually, to be fair, that's all of the Straw
Cold
Hats.
arms, Robin.
That's most of the Straw Hat. Like Jinbei has the same issue. It's like he's just kind of wearing a t-shirt under
and he's
that.
cold-blooded, so
nice. No, it's true. Sanji's is cool. Zoro's is lame.
Someone say my name.
Oh, that is shit.
I like Sanji's.
Yeah, of course you do. I think
I like
Brooke and
Nami's
Robin.
too.
Nami's is nice.
Like Nami's. I let Kirsten say it first. But yeah, I like Nami's too.
I wonder if Lilith is gonna change, and Bonnie are gonna have outfits, Elbaf outfits as well.
Gert's like, I make like cyborg clothes as well, not just human clothes.
Well, Frankie.
Yeah, well, and Lilith too, I guess.
Right, exactly. They need to match. Everyone needs to match.
Yeah, I was sad to see Frankie's cowboy hat outfit go.
Oh yeah.
Bye bye Clinty Flam.
Yeah. Well, this is really a sad day, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't even put two and two together.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but it's no cowboy outfit. Next one, Reverse Sword Brain says, "Hi ho, bo, ya pee. So I know Colin's dad is probably a new character, but do you have any wild speculation on which old man that we've already met that it could be? Is Ripley a third in Rayleigh and Shaki's open marriage? Does Crocus use his experience navigating large bodies do I have to read this? Navigating large bodies to bone down giant style. No, I don't like that. Or maybe, oh no, Ben Beckman. Wait, he isn't retired.
You said it wrong.
Oh, Ben Beckman.
I don't care.
You gotta say, oh no,
Ben Beckman. Anyway, that's I'm sure what they meant. Anyway,
that's what they did mean. It's us.
Who is making the beast with one really big and one really small back? What?
I think you gotta stop reading this.
I'm done reading. That was the end.
It's probably Wandering Hat Guy.
Yeah, I do think it's
I agree that it is
that
Wandering Hat Guy. Yeah, and I'm leaning towards Scopper Capone. But someone also mentioned that Ace could have another brother a stepbrother out there. I don't believe it though.
But Roger's dead.
Yeah, but he wasn't dead 63 years. Well, yeah, no, it's a retired pirate.
Like an older brother?
No, it doesn't make sense because he
retired.
It
doesn't make sense.
The way Ripley is talking about, they're talking about him in the present. He's still alive.
Yeah,
he's just hanging around, not getting married.
Mm-hmm.
They're common law married. They're domestic partners.
They just live together. Yeah,
like the way she talks about him aging makes me think that, like in human years, he's kind of old.
Mhm.
Well,
Which-
she's 63, so he's presumably, knowing Oda, probably a little older. So he's probably in his 70s. So
Well,
that,
she did say he was a younger man.
oh yeah, maybe at the time he was younger. Okay, he could
Yeah.
be in his 50s. I suppose that's possible. Colin? So wait, here's the thing. Did Colin age up in human years so far? So I forget how old he is, but let's say he's 10. Is he 10? Like he looks like a 10-year-old, let's say. Is he 10 years old or is he like 30? You know, I think
Right.
Loki's in his like 30s or 40s or 50s or something. So I don't know. I'm assuming they could actually be a little younger, like 50s or 40s, given that.
Yeah, all the
Because,
Roger pirates are in their 70s. So
but they could also be in their 70s. That's the thing. I think there's a pretty big age range they could be in. Did she say he was a younger man? I'm trying to like remember the exact. It's here. Could just look. Where does she say he's a younger
Yeah,
man? Actually,
on page
you're
8,
right.
yes.
He keeps soaking. So, and she was like 60 something, right? She's like 63. So,
I don't remember.
yeah. Anyway, next question. We'll mull this over. Professional Poyo says, "Hello, howdy, OPP. That's definitely the face of an owl who's worked the same job for countless centuries. I doubt Biblo gets any retirement benefits. Well, he's not retired. He's still working. Speaking of Biblo, if you had the grow power, which of your various One Piece figurines would you enlarge to life size and why? I would just want to give my Jinbei figure a big hug to start my day right. Remember, by the way, it will still have the consistency of a figure. Steve, I feel like I got to throw this to you first.
Oh, I guess I was gonna say, yeah, maybe I'll do it to one of the ships, so then I can just
Rhino.
live on a boat.
Yeah.
for the rest
Or
of
my
life.
Wano eternal pose.
I don't.
Wait,
I don't,
what?
I don't need that. I don't need that. To
Why
be
you
bigger.
need a giant?
Or my giant, like, golden Dendenmushi Happy Meal toy.
Or my
A little
golden
bit.
Dendenmushi AirPod case. I don't need them to be bigger though. This question didn't get as perverted as I thought it was going.
Get your mind
So,
out of the gutter. Just because
I
the
don't know.
previous person's mind was in the gutter.
I don't have enough room for all this crap already. Why do I want
Yeah.
one of them to be bigger?
Or like gigantify my Santa Zorro plush that Huntress fan sent to me last year.
Kirsten, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I mean, this sort of goes against the question, but I would rather do it to like a plushie or something.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's where I was leaning.
Hugging a big plushie sounds really fun, but hugging a big hunk of hard plastic sounds
Hugging
less
big
fun.
Santa Zorro.
I would do it with a chopper plushie, I think.
Yeah,
But I don't
exactly.
have one. But no, I
Well,
must
how
have one
about
somewhere.
a Beppo plushie?
Both are
Uh,
either.
That would be good.
No, he's too annoying. Oh.
He's so soft and fluffy, though.
I think the softest plush I have is like a chopper dressed up as Sanji. So
Yeah.
I'll just make that big.
Of course.
Next question. Hopkins Hat 15 says, "Hey OPP, how would it be if a One Piece?" Oh, here, this one's for Steve specifically. If a One Piece themed roller coaster based on the giant Elbaf swing from this chapter was built, would you get on?
Yes.
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 What kind
No,
of question
I'm-
is that? Of course.
I'm the weenie kid. Big Mike says, "So Colin was."
I mean,
conceived-
why not make a giant swing? But I guess it's already a giant swing. So
I don't like this last question, but I guess I'll read it and we could cut it if we want. Big Mike says, "So Colin was conceived by Ripley having a relationship with a human. So which one of you guys is the father? No, none of us.
No thanks.
No. Also fictional character. I have enough. Parenthood. I don't
What
need
is
a
this?
literal.
Death by Snoo Snoo?
I don't need a giant child run. Oh my God, I'm just thinking of how insane that would be in like a regular sized household.
that's a lot of poop.
Oh my God, that part. You can't share responsibilities in that. The giant has to do that. That is the giant's response. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. Kind of related. There is one series that kind of tackles this, and that is Ranking of Kings. Does have the hybrid relationship thing. Because
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
it? Yeah, it was the giant and the yeah.
Well,
It's
it
kind of
was
a spoiler, but yeah,
Hilling and King. I forget the name of the king.
right. And I was thinking it's the reverse issue. But uh,
Don't know how they did it.
Nope.
But they did it.
Yeah. We'll leave on that note. That's it for Piece Together. Why don't we round off the show?
All right, let's do it.
This has been our first episode for 2025, episode 850. Thank you all for coming on the show. We have lots of good guests lined up for this time. Even though it didn't work out this specific week, we have a lot of cool folks coming on, including, let me bring them all up here so I could let you all know. Alexander making his premiere here. Sungwon's going to be on a little bit later in the winter. And Kaylee McKee, who voices Kiku, will be joining. And I think,
Oh, come back. That's great.
yeah, I think they're caught up with the manga now, or will be when they're on. So yeah, I've been trying to schedule that for a while. So lots of cool stuff. I'm not going to say the dates because, Oda messes me up every time anyway. I have given up. So
Oda's really keeping us on our toes these days.
yeah, I've been scheduling people for 2 different weeks and saying he's going to mess up one of them. So we'll schedule.
I'll throw someone on the bus because he was asking me, he's like, when are you going to be on? It's like, are you going to be on this date? And I'm like, well, that depends. And I'm like, if there's a chapter that week,
I know it makes it hard these days. It used to be easier when it was just like 1, 2, 3 break, 1, 2, 3 break, or whatever it was. Kirsten, where could people find you?
They can find me on the internet. I'm on Blue Sky at KIRCAREY. And then to find me on Instagram, you can just add GTR to that for guitar. I just relaunched my Patreon. And I'm gonna be trying to put a new song there every week. Which is sort of a terrifying little prospect because I am historically not that disciplined. But I'm hoping that people actually paying attention will make me more disciplined. So please pay attention and help me cultivate self-discipline.
Accountability.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Steve.
Well, you could always go to my website. That's steveyurko.com. You can follow me on Blue Sky. If you want to follow me on one of the terrible ones, I mean, my Twitter is still there. If you're only now thinking maybe now's a good time to follow Steve on Twitter, bad time to start, but it's still there. I'm not really posting on there a bunch. Did you hear they're putting a bunch of robots on Instagram and Facebook? Follow me on Instagram if you're not a robot. I like non-robots. Well, I like my robots, but I like them in my fictional media and toys by Hasbro.
I was gonna say toys too.
Yeah. Also check me out on other shows. I do 4Kids Flashback with Tara Sands. That is a Maji Productions. What are we called again? We're
Maji Media.
Maji Media. That's another Maji Media podcast. And also you could hear me on the Let's Play channel, ProZD Plays Games with Sungwon, who we mentioned before. I will be at MagFest. I'll be tabling there. And that is in National Harbor, Maryland. That starts the 23rd of January and goes through the 26th. I'll be there. So will Alex, and you might likely see us together. Vero will also be there. You will most likely see us together, maybe all together. But yeah, always come by, say hey, pick some up from my table if you'd like, and leave money. Don't just pick it. I haven't done one of these in a while. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Steve. You you got me into Zelda these last 2 weeks, I'll say.
Wow, it only took you 30 something years.
I know. I'm 65 hours into Breath of the Wild or something.
Wow, you really.
When I commit to something,
jealous.
there is. If this podcast is proof of anything, is it's very hard to get me into something, but once I get into it, I get way too into it.
So
yeah.
when's a podcast for Zelda coming?
I'm not doing that yet.
I'll do it. Ask me.
Okay. I'm not. I don't have time for more podcasts. Is the problem. You talked to me in 2015, which, by the way, was 10 years ago. This is a good segue, Zach. Thank you, Zach.
Remind me.
So I did want to talk a little bit. I don't think I've done this specifically before, but let's talk about what were we doing 10 years ago today, or 10 years ago from this year.
Oh, a new little
new little thing. Yeah, a new little yearly segment. I'm not doing this all the time. So sorry, one of the episodes started playing for 2015. You could, by the way, find our entire archive of episodes through our Patreon. So subscribe to us there. They're ad-free there. I think they're available for everyone everywhere if you're subscribed to us. But you have to sort through a lot of stuff. I got a comment on some. We've been getting like comments on stuff from like '09. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ.
Oh God, they're listening to our old stuff.
Yeah, don't do that because you could sort it reverse chronologically.
Hey Ed, wasn't this a great chapter of Impel Down? Now let's all go out for frosty chocolate milkshakes.
It's so weird how we all sounded like that.
Hey, it's me. I'm Steve.
I'm Zach. I'm talking away from the microphone. Anyway, in 2015, Steve will know this answer, so I'm not going to throw this to Steve. So Kirsten, I'll throw you under the bus. What arc or arcs were we in the manga? 10 years ago today. Yeah, always safe guess. That's correct. But we had also started the Zoe arc in this 10 years ago, just about.
2015?
2015, we started Zoe. I'm 100% sure. I mean, it was later in 2015. Right, because
Dressrosa had ended by the summertime, I think.
Yeah. And we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of episode 350 of this very show, Nuts and Cracker, together at last. It was available in a vending machine in Japan, Nuts and Cracker. We also had amazing... I do want to just mention some of the amazing episode titles we had at that point, including Senor Works at a Bank, which is what we called Senor Pink when he was making an excuse for being a pirate. Oh, I'm Senor Works at a Bank was the joke. You see, I explained the joke, so it works well. We had a Better Call Saul reference then. I forgot that show was on 10 years ago.
Show was brand new that year. Yeah. That was season 1.
Yeah, Better Call Stephen Paul. What other Riddler on the
roof? Also, that was that was his catchphrase in Breaking Bad too. So
we were like really in the birdcage stuff here. Goop Troop Loop Lorp was this time 10 years. It was 10 years ago. Donkey Panda Man Flamingo. I don't remember that at all. Let's see. Barbecue Time. We did the Dallas trip 10 years ago.
Sorry, I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, geez.
That was
10 years,
I can't believe
years ago they put us in a booth and let us voice people.
But we had to offer them more. Yeah. Just gonna call Steve Noah. We had Deep Dish Dressrosa. We went to the Danger Zone. We had Operation Dumbo Droppings. We had That's So Monkey, Too Fast, Too Furious. The Arcs of Consequence, the original from
Wasn't
10 years
2015
ago?
the first the big read through?
Yep. It was the big read through. That's the Arcs of Consequence was the culmination of that, I think. Yeah. And our first Rick and Morty reference, Kazorpazorp Viper. So there you go. 10 years ago, what was happening on the One Piece podcast. that was a good year. I think at this point, I'm okay, like talking, like from this point on, I'm okay talking about episodes from 10 years ago because I don't think they were awful at this point. I think we had
Our
some
sound
good
quality
stuff.
was still bad because we just used
Well,
merged
yeah.
audio from Skype. So
Yeah.
remember Skype?
Yeah, it's about speed, not quality at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's both.
Now it's about quality and speed. Fucking
We apologize
fucking
to
snaps
Delaney.
a fucking pencil at her desk.
Yeah, I could. It somehow went all the way to England straight through my head. See, that was a callback to the chapter. Anyway, you can check us out at OnePiecePodcast.com, anywhere you get your social media, including the bad ones, at One Piece Podcast. OnePiecePodcast.com on Blue Sky, which is not one of the bad ones yet. You could also subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, or the other ones, Pocket Casts. I don't know them all off the top of my head. Or you could call us, and we won't answer. Our phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number, again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions. Yes?
It's 2025 and we still have this thing.
Questions, comments, theories, or how to give a hoot. How? Or how many
Simple,
licks it
Zach.
takes
You just
to...
put your lips together and go.
We'll see you next week for the 21st edition of our SGS. But until then, everyone, my name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.